Hello, my name is Emma Kemmer and I'll be doing my organic chemistry final presentation. It's called Don't Immolate Ivermectins. The who and when of ivermectins. First of all, Mr. Satoshi Omura discovered a bacteria in 1975. Then, a team from Merck Research Labs, led by Mr. William Campbell, refined it into ivermectin in 1986. Merck Research Labs made it commercially available 1 year later in 1987. What's the difference between avermectins and ivermectins? Avermectins are a group of drugs or treatments that are prescribed to fight parasitic infections because they have a lot of antithelmintic and insecticidal properties. Ivermectin is just one of the 8 common synthesized avermectins that is still in commercial use. So basically, if you're talking about avermectins, it's like saying, I have a dog. Well, a dog is a large category of a lot of different kinds, so it's not really being specific. But if you're saying ivermectin, if you're talking about that, it's like saying, I have a Cocker Spaniel. Well, now I know exactly what kind of dog you have, and I kind of have an idea of what it looks like too. So ivermectin is carried in most drugstores as either a generic or under the brand name Stromectol. Fun fact, I work at Cliffy's and the prescription center downtown Ridgeway, and we actually do carry ivermectin as a generic. So some other avermectins available today include abamectin, doramectin, ipranomectin, and selamectin. Each of the ones I just listed are macrocyclic lactones that are derived from the bacterium previously mentioned. But where did it come from? In 1975, a microbiologist and bioorganic chemist named Mr. Satoshi Omura was looking for new sources of antibiotics. He was specifically looking for naturally occurring ones found in soil. So he was taking samples from all around Japan while he was working at Tokyo's Kitasato Institute. During this time, he had a type of furlough where he went to America and met a lot of people at the Merck Research Laboratories in New Jersey, USA, and he ended up making an agreement with them. So he would send a lot of some samples that looked pretty promising for testing and development to their research laboratory in New Jersey, and whatever they developed from them and made commercially available, the institute in Tokyo would get a small royalty from that. So one such sample he sent them came from a golf course that was about 80 miles southwest of Tokyo, and I can imagine that at the time he had no idea that this little piece of soil would someday save lives in another continent. Leading the team researching at Merck Research Labs was head parasitology specialist William Campbell. So in order to test for promising or possible strains of antibiotics, he took mice and infected them with a nematode parasite. Nematode parasites include ringworm or headworm. So he would infect the mice with them and then feed them a culture sample that was grown from the bacteria and things in dirt from Japan. So Mr. Omura's team shipped a new and unnamed strain of bacteria, also known as a novel strain of bacteria, that was found to be very effective. It was later named, but the Merck team set out to isolate its active component. And they spent a lot of time on this. They spent a lot of time tweaking and chemically modifying the compound and eventually obtained avermectin, which was an avermectin that was 25 times more potent than the ones in use at the time. And Dr. William Campbell named it ivermectin. That's cool, but how does it work? So ivermectin does not directly affect parasites. It mostly affects the parasite's functions. Usually when parasites enter a body or a host, they produce proteins to block the host's immune system from attacking them. It's like building a wall and hoping that nothing comes through it. Ivermectins are made out of microcyclic lactones, which bind to these proteins and leave the parasite vulnerable to the host's immune defense. In lice, ivermectin interrupts nerve impulse and innervates muscles, eventually resulting in paralysis and death. So some cool ways that ivermectin has been implemented. Thanks to Mr. Campbell's influence on the board at Merck Research Labs, ivermectin has been distributed without cost at various places around the globe because they founded the Mectizan Donation Program in 1987, and it yearly provides around 300,000 treatments annually. Actually, in 2017, they pledged to give 100,000 more treatments per year. So that's going to be around 400,000 treatments per year. These are given to people suffering from diseases such as onchocerciasis and lymphatic filariasis, which are more commonly known as river blindness or elephantiasis. The World Health Organization estimates that thanks to the contributions of the Mectizan Donation Program, both of these diseases that are located about Brazil or Africa, or those are where there's a lot of cases. Both of these diseases might be eradicated not only in those countries, but even in the entire world by 2034. So due to ivermectin's high potency and ability to kill a large selection of internal and external parasites and worms, it can be prescribed to both humans and animals. In the U.S., its main use is eliminating parasites in commercial livestock such as cattle, sheep, pigs, and pets. And for humans, it's used mainly in lice removal and rosacea treatments. So here's some pictures of products. On the very right, you have HeartGuard, which vets prescribe for parasites. And in the middle, the black packaging is obviously a more strong dose of ivermectin. It's used for sheep, cattle, and pigs. And then on the very left, you have the Stromectol. That's the brand name of ivermectin. Alright, this is really interesting. Ivermectin is currently being tested to fight against COVID-19. So far, preliminary testing has found that ivermectin stopped the virus's growth in a cell culture within 48 hours. All tests were performed in vitro, which means it's basically just in a test tube or a culture dish, so nothing has been tested on a living organism or human yet. But these tests so far have showed that even one dosage of ivermectin could very significantly reduce RNA in 24 hours, and it basically completely eliminated all genetic traces of COVID-19 in 48 hours. So even though human trials will have to be required or gone through, the future of ivermectin in the treatment of coronavirus definitely looks promising. All right, and then the last two slides are my works cited. Hope you enjoyed.